Hey there, this is Dr. Pam Perry with another good show today with another journalist that is a lifestyle journalist. So, before we talk with someone who was a news journalist, and that was Crystal Berger, she had really booked about 140 political people. She worked for Fox TV News. She booked like 140,000 people over her 10-year career working at Fox News. But today we're talking with Felicia Michelle, who's a lifestyle. She actually has two lifestyle shows, and so fun about those. Are really like the shows if you want to get out there, get known, that are a little bit more. I guess to say they're always looking for guests. They're really perfect for speakers and authors. And actually, we had Felicia Michelle. She's at Wish TV in Indianapolis. We had Yolanda M. Smith that was booked on her show this past summer. And just loved this young lady. She was just so delightful. So I'm going to get into a little bit of her backstory, how she gets started, and really how she's helping aspiring people who want to get into television, how she's helping them as well. So I'm going to bring her up right after this.
Welcome to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast. Join Pam Perry, veteran PR strategist, Emmy award-winning producer and publisher of Speakers Magazine, who will show you how to crack the code in getting out there to get known. Each week, she either interviews her media friends, PR colleagues, or she just goes solo, offering you strategies on publicity, publishing, and platform building. So listen up to hear how to get booked on media places and on superstar stages. Now, here's your host, Pam Perry.
Hey there. Hey, Felicia Michelle. I love that. That sounds like a celebrity name. You know, I love that, right?
Thank you.
So I'm excited because one of the things I wanted you to tell a little bit about your background, but I want to read this, what I read about you, that you, a media consultant, you really help aspiring hosts, because that's what you do. Reporters and other talent learn how to use the power of their voice, both in front and behind the camera. You're committed to creating spaces for Black women and other underrepresented groups in entertainment journalism. And this is one of the things that I loved about you. I could just tell that you have a passion for this. And I wanted, they could read the description about where you graduated, but let's kind of get a little bit. I know Penn State.
Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State. So let's tell us a little bit about it, because, it's not like you went to Penn State and it's like, oh, okay, immediately as soon as I get out of school, I'm going to be in New York working for ABC News, right? Because
that is not how it goes.
Okay. So let's tell people a little bit how it goes so they can know how much of a sacrifice it is to really be on the air.
Well, first off, thanks for having me. I really appreciate this. You coming on. You mentioned coming on the show in the summertime, which felt like forever ago, but it was so fun to have you there, and I had to come and do this show. So I graduated from Penn State, and it was an interesting experience because that is what they call a PWI. I call it a TWI, traditionally white institution. So it's a little bit different there, because there you're trying to carve out opportunities specifically for Black and brown journalists. We have a multicultural dean in the College of Communications, and they kind of helped with that. And that was like a part of that. I also did student minority advisory and recruitment team, which is SMART there, which works on helping to recruit minority students to come to Penn State, show them the experience, showing them how things work and operate there. But no, you were right. I did not graduate Penn State and get some job in New York or in some huge other market. I got a job at a bank. And,
Okay. and they probably were like, we got to start somewhere. But it is one of the things where in broadcasting, they want you to have the experience before you have the job, but you can't get the job unless you have the experience. It's like, okay, so how that can happen? And a lot of times people don't realize this. And I said this with Crystal Berger, because she left teaching to go be in broadcast. She had to intern for free at WJZ, I think it was in Baltimore, for a good while. Like, I think she said like a year, and you're working for free. People can't even fathom that. It's like, what? So she had to work another job.
Yeah.
And she interned and also was trying to run a business. So, it is something.
It's definitely something. Before I graduated, I actually was lucky enough to meet my first mentor who helped me. She was the internship coordinator at Fox 5 in DC. Her name is
Okay.
Micheline Bowman, and she's wonderful. She's in PR, and she taught me a lot about being in the industry and like she opened up the door for me. Like at the time, there were some of the best Black journalists there. There was Allison Seymour and Wisdom Martin, and
Yeah.
obviously that team has changed. That Fox 5 team that was is now kind of like the WUSA 9 morning team, which is fine. That's how it works in certain markets
It's
like that. They go
they
across the
do.
street. But like you said, working for free, I had an internship in a top 5 market, but it wasn't a paid internship. In fact, I had to pay with college credit to take that class, be able to do
See?
that. But
Hmm.
I ain't never been more slim in my whole life, okay? Because it was like getting on the train and like rationing out your food and like it just taught me the lesson of having grit. A lot of
Hmm.
times I tell people like you want the glory, but you don't want the grit that comes along with it.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I did vlog those experiences, so that vlog is available, like my internship experience and stuff, because I just knew that maybe one day there'd be somebody trying to figure out what they need to do, and they might not have access to me, but they'd have access to these vlogs
That
and to these
box.
videos to
Yeah.
see, the things that I did.
And
But
it's
after,
competitive
yeah.
too. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
the fact that you graduated Penn State, this and that, it's like you're already like ahead, right, of the thousands that
You
applied
would you
for
would think.
the free internship, right?
No,
It's like stop, you
so
got to compete for these things.
but that actually came out of just having a genuine relationship. So I was talking about being in the college. They had a multicultural dean. Well, he took us to Howard University for a communications fair, and that's where I met her. And I
Yes.
came up to her and I said something like, I'm just looking for an opportunity to learn more about what it's like to be in a newsroom. And she threw her hands and says, "Oh, thank you, God. You ain't asking for no job, baby. What do you want?" Like it was because of
Yes.
having humility and approaching her and just saying, "I don't know everything. I don't know what I'm doing. I really want to learn." And that she said, when you apply, call me and let me know. And it was pretty much a wrap from there. And then I did that. And that was pretty hard because I'm in a major city and I'm from a small town. Even though like Philadelphia is our market of news, I'm from a little town. And so I never realized how much crime, violence,
Whew.
just hardship
Hard
of life
news is
happens.
hard.
Yet hard
Yeah.
news is hard, and
Yeah.
we're the interns, so we're writing every single story on the board. We're in the morning meeting. We're hearing reporters. We're going out with reporters, and I just felt like, oh my God, I don't know if I can handle this. I don't know if I can do this. Then again, trying to get a job out of college, it was just so hard to do. So I really didn't know what I was doing after school. Like I had people who I went to school with, they had gotten jobs right out of college. I was like, I don't know. And then I found out at the end that I wasn't gonna make no money. So I thought
Yes.
I was gonna go to college and I was gonna graduate and I was gonna make 6 figures, and that was exactly
Yeah.
how I was gonna go. And that's not what happened at all. But I thank God for the way it all went down. So I left school, and honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. I worked at a bank. I was like dating some guy. I was like, oh, I guess this is it. We just gonna be together. And I remember one day just like being upset about something that had happened. And I heard the Lord say to me, I have better for you. I have more
Mm.
for you. And I thought, how is there better or more? Like I graduated, I went to this expensive school. I don't have a job after. I feel like a failure. I worked at the bank, and then the bank was like, yeah, we don't want you here no more. And they
Because
fired me. So I was like,
you're really a broadcaster, right? It's like, well,
because
we
like
really, yeah.
because what can what can I do, and just in being in that space. And I just remember going home to my family and just, talking to my brother who he passed in 2020. But I remember just saying
Mm.
to him, like, I feel like a failure. I feel like nothing. I feel like y'all all poured into me and I have nothing to show for it. And he was like, that's not true. He was like, man, people who do like what you do, like they do all this, start naming all these different things. And what he didn't realize is the things that he started listing are the things I ended up eventually doing, like
Wow.
modeling, acting,
Yeah.
producing. He like named rattled all these things off. And so I was like, I'm a bet on myself. This is my one
Yes.
life I have. So I started off actually doing social media interns for Philly Fashion Week. They had a Philly
Okay.
Fashion Week. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm a social media intern. Oh no, don't get too hyped, because when I got there, they were like, can you lay out these cheese and crackers? So I was like laying out cheese and crackers, but I did it to excellence. I did it like perfectly. I was like, okay, okay, this is my job. I'm gonna do it well. And then
Mhm.
one thing led to another, and I reconnected with someone from college. And they were like, hey, didn't you go to school for journalism? Oh, we're hiring over at this new online magazine, and that
Oh,
led to a host job, and then led to
yes.
other host jobs. And just as I continue to put myself out there, and it's a lot of steps in all of this. I won't bore y'all with the details, but there's so many steps to get to where I'm at right now. I felt led to move to Los Angeles at one point in my career because
Mhm.
I was like, I just felt like God wanted me to go out there. And I was like, "Oh God, here I am again, skinny and skinny and poor and hungry, like, and just getting through the grit and the grind that is Los Angeles, and really just going for your dreams, And I applied to, and I'm telling you, I lied to you not. I made a list. At one time, I used to keep a list of how many jobs I applied for. I had applied to like 120 jobs in the span of like maybe 7 or 8 months of being in LA and
Wow.
realizing I needed another job.
Oh my
Got my
God.
break.
Your
I got
job
my
wasn't
break though. My job was finding a job. Yeah, it was.
right.
But I did get a break when I went to it was a 1 day reporter job, and the rest of the time I would be writing, like web producing. And I took it. I went to Shreveport, Louisiana, and I had
Ooh.
1 day to report.
Mm.
They call it Ratchet City. Shout out to Ratchet City. I loved it there. It was fun. It grew me, and then I got another job because as an anchor, and people are like, how do you go from a 1 day reporter to a Monday to Friday morning anchor? Well, when I was working those weekends and I was typing up those web stories, when I was done, I was going to that studio and I was reading copy and I was
Yeah.
practicing. And
Yeah.
another friend and I, shouts to Sade, we learned how to punch up all the stuff ourselves, run the prompter ourselves, record ourselves. So the two of
Wow.
us would do reads. And through that, I was able to develop a reel and get that
That's it.
job, that big jump, because that's a
That
huge
is
jump to go from 1 day reporter to
the
Monday to Friday morning anchor.
wow. And where was the morning
Yeah,
anchor job? Where was that? What
that
market was it?
was that was the number that was still in Louisiana, and that was in West Monroe. So if that, I
Okay.
think at the time Shreveport was like market 99, and I think this was like market 140 or something like
Okay.
that.
So
So I
it was
definitely,
yeah, but you
yeah.
were still on there every day, and so you can really practice. I want to go back to one thing that you said. So Penn State, you had the multicultural, and they were giving you support, but you really got the most support when you went to Howard. So shout out to Howard Communication School, because the same thing. I went to Wayne State University, and every my junior year and senior is when I went to Howard University and met everybody. So I'm traveling from Detroit to Howard to their communications conference. And it is a life changing kind of a situation, because you see, going to a traditionally white school, and you see all these black people in the communication. It's like it does inspire you, like it is possible. And that's when I really felt like, I think I met Percy Sutton while I was there. Kathy Hughes, obviously, she has a legacy there. Met some of the people from Radio One. I mean, so it was that thing that pushes you, but you do need mentorship. So talk about how you now, as a media consultant, how you really are helping other people who want to host shows, because you host two shows in Indianapolis on Wish
Yes, I
TV.
do.
And so all Indiana, and then the other one is
Lifestyle Live, which is
Lifestyle.
nationally syndicated. Actually, Lifestyle Live is not just in Indianapolis. We have markets in California. We're
Oh,
like local here in the Midwest, in Chicago. There's it's dozens. We're in dozens of markets, which is absolutely crazy to me to
I
think that
love
like
that.
that many people are watching. I just, even thinking about it, and I know that's the reality, but even thinking about it now, it kind of overwhelms me a little bit. Just because I couldn't have written this story out for myself. All I could do was just like live it. And then, yes, that was a great communication fair. But shout outs to Hampton though, because my sister went there, my niece goes
Okay,
there right now, so I
Hampton
don't
is
want no
good too.
issue
Yeah.
problems at home with the family. But
Hampton is good too, because I did have a niece
yeah,
that went to Hampton. And listen, by her freshman year, she was like, "I need to get an internship." I said, "You just got there freshman year." She says, "No, they are serious about it." I'm like,
oh yeah,
"Okay."
no,
So by the time
well,
she gets out, she's working
yeah,
full. Their goal is for them to be working full time in the field when they get out. That is like the goal, because a lot of them don't
yeah.
have the luxury going back to rich mom and daddy, and just said, "Well, I'm going to take a gap year before I start work." Nobody, what is that? So anyway,
The
so
year to work at Gap, I guess. No, So it's funny about that with her because my sister was the first in our family to go to college, going to Hampton, and I went to Penn State. And because of just realizing how competitive things are, like I realized, like I knew things were competitive, I just didn't realize how competitive things were. So my niece has had an internship since seventh grade. Now the first one, I kind of forced her into that one, but she's had one every summer ever since. So she's gotten to be ahead of the game, and it's cool. And that's why I like doing what I do with consulting and just helping people, because it's like, I know they say the game is to be sold and not told and all that other stuff, but it's just, if you see somebody trying, give them an opportunity. I
Yeah.
fell into consulting not because I tried to make like money off of it, because I'll be honest, I don't make no money off of it.
But you just was
But
trying to pay it forward.
I was just trying to help people out. And a lot of times, because this is the thing, I was giving the game away to people who weren't really doing anything with it. And I realized that that was actually hurting me, and it was going to make me be, possibly like not wanting to be as helpful because I didn't see any fruit from, the effort that I was putting out there. And so it's literally like, like 30 minutes is like $50. I've given the money back literally every time. I'm a terrible businesswoman, but I just want to know if you're serious, because I said, Felicia, if that was you and you had the opportunity to talk to somebody with your level of experience, would you pay $50? I would have found that $50 to find
Mhm.
that, and just, how committed are you? How committed are you to this dream? It's crazy because now I'm not an old head in the game yet, but I'm getting to be one of the OGs. I'm definitely an auntie in the game with like 10 years in now. And you get younger kids coming up into the industry, and they are not being told hard truths. A lot of things I wish I had learned in my journalism classes that I didn't learn, like for example, like contract negotiation. Okay, I needed you,
Mhm.
like, not learning that, understanding the word perpetuity, that should have been told to me while I was in school. Okay, just
Mhm.
different things along the way that I really wish that I had been taught. I try to tell them those things because you're not yes, I could give you tips on how to be better on camera, but that only comes with repetition. But the things that
Right.
I tell people, I want you to get at how to get into good contracts, how to
Mhm.
negotiate what you're worth, what you want, when to walk away, when to hold your tongue, when to speak up, things that I've had to learn sometimes the hard way are the things I typically share with the people that
Yeah.
I work with. And I like to see a good result for them. So if I had to learn the lesson and then give it to them so they can have a better result, like why wouldn't I do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking
Yes.
about people of color in the industry, because we need more perspectives of people of color. We need people to continue to rise in the ranks and see those faces so they tell certain stories.
And I like how you and Cody, I think I have Yolanda's book. It's over here. Don't have it right here. But when you had Yolanda on the show, and that was really good. And you came to the, we invited you to the event for you to be a part of that. It was in Indianapolis. It was just really a good experience for her to come in. The studio is beautiful. Wish TV, shout out to Wish TV. It's a beautiful studio. It was, I think you said it was brand new that year,
Oh yeah,
and
we had just got the new table. We're actually
oh
gonna
my
be working
God.
on some things now for Lifestyle Live. I'm pretty excited about
I
too.
love
So
it. It was good, and it was, and you were so genuine. And Cody too. Both of you all just made her feel really, really good. But it was good to see us, as African American women supporting each other. And so I appreciate when you held up her book, and here's Yolanda right here. But anyway, but when you held up the book, and you said this is a book to get. It just really, her book. I don't know if you knew it debuted at number one on
oh
Amazon.
my God, I didn't know that. Oh
Yes, yes,
my goodness, yay.
because it was the day before the book was actually released, and when it
Yeah.
released, it debuted already on number one. So that was the power of what you could do and help other people who are really, you know, wanting to get out there and get known. So I just want to say thank you for that publicly. You didn't have to do that, and then also
Right.
too, we reached out to you before about the other show, and so kind of give us a little bit about how the newsroom structure. I know it's different for news and
Okay.
lifestyle. So give us like how people pitch producers.
Okay, sure. So it's a shame because a lot of times people get turned, not necessarily turned away, but like it's hard to get excited when people aren't telling you the information in the right way, right? It's like you never want to have it to be where people are trying to pull information from you. Everything about your client, your product, your event should all be written up, and like I should be able to look at that one email and know everything, when it's
Yeah.
happening, who's going to be there. If you can include any media that you have, or they be pictures of your client, pictures of the book, pictures of something, if you could make it as full as possible. Like imagine somebody just doesn't know anything, all they know how to do is just read. If they just read this, right, a lot of times when we're in something so much, we know it so well that we just forget and assume and think other people know all of that as well. Like you have to basically l- line out every single thing, and and always make it easy. I think one of the biggest things is people put your availability in there. Say, hey, I'm thinking about these couple odd dates, do any of these dates work for you? So you can get an
Hmm.
email response faster, better than going back and forth trying to find a date.
Yes.
Well, the producer already knows what days you're available, and what days can work. And then if they can't make that work, then come back and say, hey, we can't make this day work. Can we make this day work? But you never want to leave people guessing about your product, about your service, about your whatever it is. You don't want to leave people guessing. Like, I think the strongest thing I could say to people is like have a good press release written up. Like that is like the biggest thing I would say is like have a good press release. And if you don't know what that is, that's something you could totally Google. It's something that was well within you reach out to Dr. Pam Terry. She'll tell you. It's something that you can easily do. And then also be enthusiastic about what you do and be responsive. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten an
Ooh.
email, whether it's any place I've ever worked at, where I'm excited about it and then you're not responsive, or that falls off. You always want to be responsive. And I'm not saying in a way that it lacks work life balance, but in a way that if someone sends you an email, you probably should maybe in the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, you should probably be trying to get back
Yeah.
to them. And
That is.
that's a big thing too. People just are not responsive, and it's like crazy
Yeah.
because you're
Because
like, I'm
if a
excited, I want you on.
right,
What's
and
going on? You
then
ghosted
it's
me.
crickets. Right. That
Yeah,
is not it. And so the difference between like an assignment editor, which is really kind of like a news person or news desk,
yeah.
versus
Hmm.
like the producer of the lifestyle show. And I think your producer, does she do both of your shows? Does she?
Oh, so Taylor's one of our. She's our executive producer over both shows, and then each
She both.
show has their own producer. Which for Lifestyle Live is Peter, and then for Indiana it's Alexi, who are both
Okay.
phenomenal producers and really fun to work with. We're lucky because with Lifestyle, it's more like you're on an island, like in a smaller team, where news has a lot of different components,
Yeah.
right? We're still All Indiana is still technically a news program as well, but it has lifestyle or infotainment aspects to it.
Hmm.
And in a newsroom, there's like the news director, there's executive producer, talent, and then production assistants. And that's kind of like a rough hierarchy of how that goes and where shots are called. A lot of
It's a
people think
lot.
because you're on camera that you run the show. And no, you don't run the show just because you're on camera.
It's a whole team of people, maybe
Yeah,
four people or five people that are
are
meeting
making
every
that
day about what.
happen.
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted
Yeah.
people to understand that too. And when they are sending out an email, the subject line really, really matters. Making sure that, and a lot of times I tell people that reporters and producers, they're not trying to hide unless you're like part of Oprah's team or something like that. But for
No,
the
we
most
want
part,
content. We want
yes, you want
content. We are
content. I was
looking
just
for new cool things. We want
yeah.
content on the show. We want to meet new people. We want new people to come in because if not, it's just gonna be the same people over and over again. And you
And
want, new people. And it's like
yes.
you can't be mad at them because they're solidifying a spot for themselves. And again, if you go on to a show and you come onto there and you do a really good job, that can open up opportunity for something else. We have contributors, like we have a medical contributor, Dr. Janelle Gordon. Like we have people who come in and
Yeah.
contribute different things. We recently had a woman come on, Angie Lau, and she was wonderful. And I was like, wow, maybe she could do something with parenting. And just because she did such a good job on one show, we wanted her to come back for the other show. And she did such a good job. I was like, maybe I have to figure out where we could
Yeah.
maybe, use her. And that kind of stuff happens, especially when you have good behavior. I think a lot of times that's not stressed enough. When you come
Mhm.
to the studio arriving on time,
Or early.
or early. Not
Yes, yes,
too crazy early, but early or on time
right.
is good. And just being dependable, having props, having things to show, like come in, like again, that's why those pictures are important, because while you're talking, they might put pictures in of what
You
product you're
did.
talking about, or an
Mhm.
event or something like that. Or have, if it's a book, you should have the physical copy of the book there. And I
Or
don't want to tell nobody to
B-roll.
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, or some, yeah,
background.
thank you.
Mhm,
Yes. Like
mhm.
something in there that adds to the fullness of an interview. Because if not, you just kind of, it can fall flat very easily for some
Yeah,
people, and people love that. And you just want to show dimension of what you do, especially because you're coming into a studio instead of that person maybe possibly coming out to you. You want to show as much as you can. If they don't use it all, that's fine, but you don't want to give people not enough to work with.
yeah. When 2020 during the pandemic, did you do a lot of remote? How was that different when you were
2020 during the pandemic, I was Monday to Friday morning anchor at sister stations. So it was 4 hours on the desk, 2 hours on the NBC affiliate, and 2 hours on the Fox affiliate. And I was my own producer. So I
Oh my
produced all the shows. Yeah, I mean, I had a co-anchor, but because of the pandemic, we used to do all 4 hours together. I produced two, she produced the other two, and then we would be on the desk together for the entire 4 hours. But then with COVID happened, then we had to split up. So we would alternate sister stations. So one week I do NBC, she do Fox, and then vice versa. And then if say she was sick and she couldn't be there, then I would produce all 4 hours by myself and anchor all
god.
4 hours.
Oh
In
my
fact,
god.
the morning after the insurrection, I was solo by myself for 4 hours doing that.
Wow. That
Yeah,
is
crazy.
crazy. That is
Yeah,
crazy. But that is,
yeah.
oh my goodness, that is it. That during that whole period of time, I mean, that's when people really can figure out where they are going to stand and like because it was just something that you have to do all by yourself. So you were actually going into the studio every day.
We had to. So we were like skeleton crew. So obviously, like
Okay.
in a television news station, there's also like a sales department upstairs, and they sell different things. They get our advertising. They like, have us possibly go out to other events, or a community manager might handle that. Like kind of like other people in the building who do other jobs that aren't producers or news directors or assignment managers or reporters or anchors, right?
Okay.
So they weren't there at all. And then a lot of our reporters had their own equipment and they weren't there. So really I saw like basically nobody for a while. But
Oh my
the morning times are always like that anyway, because nobody's in the building until usually like 9:30
god.
anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, I was like, it was like kind of like a little island by ourselves. In fact, I remember they gave us a letter, because I don't know if you remember, at one point in the pandemic nobody was supposed to be out, so we had a letter saying that we were essential workers. I had never thought about my job as an
The
essential worker
essential worker.
before. Yeah, but we were essential workers, so we had
Yeah,
to
because
be
you
on the
did.
road and go
Yeah,
out and get to. Yeah, it was a
wow.
wild time.
That is
Yeah.
good. That is good. But you are essential. That is one of the main things. Now you were delivering news. People they were at home all day, so it was like they had to watch something. So you had to explain to them and report to them what was going on, insurrection, all that kind of stuff during that time. So coming up this year is NABJ in Cleveland, which is kind of like National Association of Black Journalists. You will be attending
Yeah.
that again, or participating, or
So funny enough, I was going to go to for the first time in 2020, and obviously that didn't work
didn't
out. But I
happen.
I was doing virtual stuff with NABJ, and then I joined like my local chapter of NABJ when I was living in Los Angeles. I was like out there working, doing stuff with them. So this will be my first time going to
Oh
the
yeah.
national, like, which is like crazy because I'm excited because we all see each other on social media, so it'll be fun to like meet
Yes,
people that I've
it
talked to
is.
for years in real life, like people who I've
It
had
is.
phone conversations with, I've talked to, like finally like see them in real life and like hug them. Like what?
Yes, and probably see your mentor again. Maybe she might be there.
Y-
That kind of thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Can I
that
bring
would be
something
good.
up about mentorship?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
So I get
important.
asked a lot about mentorship and how mentorship is like it's important, but people try to ask like, how do I get a mentor? How does that work? And it's all like authentic relationships with people. This industry really, it's based off of authentic relationship. I know people do like "Mwah, mwah, darling," like that little, some people like that. Some people are, but authenticity will take you way further than any of that stuff will. You trying to politic, right? So for me,
Mhm.
like my mentors are women that I met genuinely and that I actually connected with, and that I made it a point to connect with them. In this life, I heard somewhere it's like three types of people. It's like people who can do nothing for you, people who like you c- who can you who people who can do nothing for you, people who you can do nothing for, and then people who it's mutual, and all those are important relationships. And with a mentorship relationship, while they may be in a higher position, further along on their goals, you can still do something for them. I think a lot of
Yeah,
times when people
absolutely.
hear that term, I want to take you lunch to pick your brain, no one wants to hear that you want to pick their brain. People
Mhm.
want to know that you're genuinely interested, right? Okay, so for example, one of my mentors, she is an executive at one of the top four media conglomerates. I'll leave it at that. And she had a baby. I know she doesn't like to cook. I sent her a $25 Uber Eats gift card. Does she need that? No, she don't need that.
But it
She
was
got
just
it.
right.
But it's about being thoughtful and being mindful about that this
Mhm.
person is a person and they're not just somebody that to be used at your disposal. I always
Yeah.
say like whatever you can do to help your mentor, right? Like not to make it super biblical, but like David played music and that music soothed Saul, right? Like and so like
Mhm.
figure out what you can do like to make your mentorship relationship more equal. Instead of like just say, I need to pick your brain, I need something from you, I need this,
Yeah.
even if it's
I
just that like you're funny and you check in every once in a while, say, hey, like, oh my God, I saw this show. I know that you like this, or hey, I went to go see this comedian. Like having a genuine relationship with them where you're not always
Mhm.
talking about work, you'll find that what you will receive is better life advice than anything else. Like how to
Yeah.
navigate this, how to wear this, how do you handle this, how do I navigate my personal life in this? Because it's work, but you also have to live your life too. So I know people ask about mentors a lot, and it's just like make it real and authentic because that's the mentor who's really going to have your back, not just like
And
run into the person you think is the most uh
famous.
I guess accomplished in the room.
Yeah, yeah, because I've
Yeah.
had my mentors, they are now older. One reminds me, I'm gonna be 80 next year. But it's one of those things where you really care. I was there for her 70th birthday, I'll be there for her 80th birthday. You help them if they have an event and they need someone to, like you said, lay out the cheese and crackers, whatever it is, it's like I will help them whatever the small things that they need, or if they have an event to buy a ticket, or if they have an organization to promote it on your social media, whatever it is, just make it so that it's reciprocal back and forth, because there's nothing worse than just someone just feeling like they're being
Being
used.
used. Yeah.
You don't want that, because this is a great way to get blocked, okay, on your phone. So so that is it. But that is so good, Felicia Michelle, and your IG is Felicia Michelle on IG, and probably I think on other ones as well. But IG is where you really hang out as well. So thank you so much for joining. Get out there, get known, because what you shared, I know will help younger people, but then also people help other people understand of how to approach a journalist, a lifestyle versus a news and that kind of thing. So it really, really is important
Yeah.
for people to understand that. And then hopefully I will see you at
Yes.
NABJ in Cleveland as well. We'll be in the Midwest
Yes.
area. So I'm in Detroit, you're in Indy. So Cleveland is
I was
another.
supposed to come out there. I was supposed to come out there and get my hair done, but it didn't work out. So I was supposed to next time I'm in Detroit, they'll get my hair done. I'll hit you up. But also too, just to your audience, the worst thing you can do is hear no, and that is the same exact thing as not ever asking. So you have nothing to lose when you approach people. If you know you're approaching them with respect and you're
Yeah.
valuing their time and yours, you have literally have nothing to lose.
Yes, that is so key. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
This has
you.
been so good. Your brother would be so proud of you. Your
Thank
brother would
you.
be so on national TV doing the thing, doing two, not just one show, but two shows as well. So
Crazy.
thank you so much for opening doors for others as well. So God bless you, and I will talk with you soon. All right,
All
bye
right,
bye.
bye. See you guys. Bye.
You've been listening to the Get Out There and Get Known podcast, brought to you by PamPerryPR.com, where you'll get insider tips on how to build your platform, pitch the media, and promote yourself with confidence. Head over to PamPerryPR.com and get the exclusive video training on the 7 must-have marketing materials you need before you pitch in order to be considered in media places or superstar stages. PamPerryPR.com, where you help you shine like a superstar.